And we are back. Welcome to the Europa Conference League prediction video. Today we have moved this one forward because there is a Europa Conference League taking place tomorrow afternoon. Then we'll have our Europa League video coming up for you on Wednesday morning. So then you'll have all of the predictions available for you still a day in advance for both competitions. And of course, a massive thank you to every single one of you that has subscribed, because we've just hit another milestone on the channel. 6,000 subscribers achieved yesterday in yesterday's Champions League video. And of course, if you want to see all of my predictions for tonight and tomorrow night's Champions League games, you can do so by clicking the link at the top of your screen right now. And don't forget to drop a like on this video if you do enjoy all of my prediction series. And if you're not subscribed, do consider subscribing with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of the European predictions we have got coming up for you on this channel. And without any further ado, let's skip ahead to the results and predictions screen, where you'll see that so far, after 3 match days in the Europa Conference League, we're on 31 out of 54 correct results with just 2 correct scores. This is my lowest performing competition across the 3 European competitions. However, I still think we're doing pretty well, and I do think this is the hardest one to call, just given how diverse the teams are across all of different countries taking part in this UEFA Conference League. So, without any further ado, let's get things started with that first match taking place tomorrow afternoon. It is Istanbul Basaksehir, currently 32nd in the Europa League or the Europa Conference League, should I say, on just 1 point, and they are facing the bottom side Petrocub on 0 points and just 1 goal scored. So already you would have to slightly favour Istanbul here. Certainly on paper you would consider them the stronger team, and they also got their first point in what was probably their first decent result so far, getting a draw away to Copenhagen, which I do actually think is a genuine good result on match day 3. For the Moldovans, they've not really got too much going for them. Like we've already said, 0 points, 1 goal scored. They do have a few of those Moldovan internationals that have just got themselves promoted to League C in the Nations League. To shout out to any of those of you that watch any of my Nations League predictions video, because this is where we talked about them already. For Istanbul, they have no wins in their last 9 though. So that is the only thing that you could sort of put in favour of Petrocub here, is that Istanbul are so desperate for a win that it's now been 9 matches without one. So is there a chance of an upset here? I would say there's a slim one, but the fact that there even is a slim one tells you how poor Basaksehir have been so far this season. But I do think they're going to break their duck here. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Neither of these sides, both domestically and in this competition, have been very poor in front of goal. So I'm just going to go for a 1-0 win to the Turkish side. But I'm still going to go for a win to the Turkish side. That then takes us to the very early kickoff on Thursday. UEFA have been very bizarre with the Conference League this week once again. 1 game on Wednesday, 1 very early game on Thursday, then 11 sort of like middle-timed games on Thursday, and then just 6 at 8 o'clock. So why they're doing this, I don't know, but we're going to move over to Kazakhstan for the very early kickoff on Thursday, and it sees 25th place Astana taking on 5th place Vitoria. Vitoria are the first of 6 teams that we're going to talk about today that have won all of their opening 3 match days so far. And look, they've not been the most convincing in any of those wins, but they have won. They've conceded in all of them. They've not scored many in all of them, but they have continued to win. For Astana, they've got 3 goals scored so far and only 3 goals conceded in their matches so far. So they're not doing too bad, but they've not been able to accumulate many points. And to be fair, Vitoria are probably on paper the strongest side they have faced so far. But they are at home. Vitoria haven't been that convincing in their wins so far. So I definitely think there is a chance for the Kazakhstani side here. In terms of fitness and suspensions and whatnot, there are no real concerns for either side that I could see coming into this. So unfortunately, I'm just going to stick with what the form guide suggests, which is that once again, Vitoria will come out on top by a narrow margin. I'm going for a 2-1 victory to the Portuguese side. That then brings us to the first of those middle-timed kickoffs on Thursday. It is Borac Banjaluka taking on LASK, 19th in the table taking on 30th. BBL got off to a very good start with 4 points from their first 2 matches, but were then beaten away in Reykjavik by the Vikings last time out. For the Austrians, it's been 2 draws at home and an away defeat so far for them in this Europa Conference League. but they are unbeaten in their last 5 matches in all competitions. Looking at the recent form, again, as with the first 2 fixtures, I don't see this being a very high-scoring affair. I would expect both sides to score, but beyond that, it's going to be very tough to see them getting more than just 1 goal each. LASK should probably be considered the favourites for this. On paper, they are the stronger outfit, but they do have a few players missing through injury as well. So with all things balanced out, I am going to go here for a 1-1 draw, but I can definitely see it being 2-1 either way. I just don't think I can split them right now. That then takes us to 2 teams that have to be realistically considered on downward spirals at the moment. We have Cercle, who after Matchday 1 were top of the table. They have now plummeted themselves right down the table and only have 4 points now after 4 match days. Whereas for Hearts of Midlothian, they have lost all of their last 3 matches. To be fair, they're on 6 points in this Europa Conference League so far, but they have lost all of their last 3 matches in all competitions to Heidenheim, Rangers and Celtic. For Cercle, they have just lost 5-0 at home to Anderlecht, so it's really not been good for either of these sides recently. This is what I'm saying. Both of these sides can definitely be considered in downward spirals at the moment. For me, again, it's not going to be a classic this in terms of the fact that I can't see there being too many goals. For me, it's just your bog standard 2-1 to the home team. If Hearts are at home, I give them the win. And because Cercle are at home, I'm going to give them the win. Or Cercle, I can never say their name properly either. I am going for a 2-1 victory to the Belgian side. That then takes us all the way to Dynamo Minsk taking on FC Copenhagen. Minsk are one of the sides that are absolutely pointless so far, or should I say a side without points so far. They're in 34th, whereas for Copenhagen, they are certainly very inconsistent in terms of this tournament. They are still top of their domestic league and are actually unbeaten in all of their last 9 matches since losing on Matchday 1, but their actual genuine performances so far in this competition have left a lot to be desired, drawing at home, losing to JB, and it's just not been that convincing for them. The only problem is, though, is that Minsk are just conceding goals left, right and centre, and I just don't think that they're going to have enough to beat a Copenhagen side that, like I say, they're unbeaten in 9, despite the fact that I think they've actually conceded in 8 of those 9 matches. So I'm going to give Minsk a goal here. Suspensions and injuries, again, don't look like they're going to be an issue in this match either. So I'm going to go for Copenhagen. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory. But, like I say, just watch this space. Copenhagen have really underperformed so far in this Europa Conference League. That then takes us to what I would probably consider Chelsea's toughest test so far in this Conference League. It is Heidenheim taking on the English side, and these are 2 sides of those 6 that have won all 3 of their opening matches so far. So something has got to give here. Chelsea are the side that are top of the Conference League right now. They have got a 9-goal difference advantage over Heidenheim, who are actually the bottom of those 6 sides that have won all of their opening games. Heidenheim only have a goal difference of 4. Chelsea have 13. But like I say, I think this will be their toughest test so far. The only issue is that either side of the international break, Heidenheim lost 3-1 at home to Wolfsburg, then 5-2 away to Leverkusen at the weekend. They also tend to have a fair few injuries to first-team players, and even though Chelsea do have some injuries as well, obviously to the likes of Reece James and a couple of others, Pedro Neto and whatnot, we still expect Chelsea to field basically what would be considered a strong enough first 11 that it doesn't matter for their injuries. And with the way that Heidenheim have played over the last couple of weeks, I think this game is coming a little bit too soon for them to realistically cause Chelsea too many problems. I would still expect Chelsea to get a strong victory here. I am going for a 4-1 victory to the English side. That then takes us to what could be a very, very interesting match. It is the Armenians taking on the Icelandic. Both of these sides so far in the Conference League have won all of their home games and lost all of their away games. So immediately you would then put that in favour of Noah. But I have to look at how the Vikings have played and who they've played against in their last 2 matches that they've come out on top. And I do think the sides that they have beaten in those home games are, with the greatest of respect to the Armenians, a stronger side than FC Noah. The bookmakers are making Noah incredibly strong favourites for this one, which I think is bizarre given the fact that they were just absolutely packed in 8-0 by Chelsea, and the fact that, again, on paper, they're really not that strong a side. And on paper, I do think the Reykjavik Vikings are a stronger side. They should definitely not be written off for this one by any stretch of the imagination. The only thing that should be noted is that they haven't played a match since match day 3. So that could be something else that's going in favour of Noah. But I still think there's going to be goals in this one. And I can't split them myself. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw. Both of these sides have been involved in some crazy games recently. I almost went for 3-3, but I'm going for a 2-2 draw in this one. Next up, it is Molde taking on Apoel Nicosia, and somehow we've made it all the way to Game 8 without mentioning a single Cypriot team so far. But here we are now. It is the Cypriot side, Apoel Nicosia, travelling to Molde, who are currently 1 point ahead of their hosts here. 4 points and 3 points respectively. Molde on 3, Apoel on 4. They also come in, I can't say my words out properly. Apoel also come into this fixture off the back of an incredible result on match day 3, seeing off Serie A giants Fiorentina, which really is a massive game, a massive victory for them. They also had a higher XG than Fiorentina in that match. They were well worth the victory as well. As for Molde, it's been back-to-back defeats for them, both away from home, but they did win comfortably on their one home fixture so far in this Europa Conference League. And they do have a striker in Brynhildsson who is on absolute tip-top form. He has more goals than games played for Molde so far this season. I expect this one to be close, but Apoel have actually only scored 3 goals so far in this competition, despite the fact they did get that victory over Fiorentina last time out. So with that said, with them being the away side, with how strong Molde are at home, I'm just going to edge it in favour of the Norwegians, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Molde in this one. Next up, it is a matchup between two sides whose names I really do struggle to say, and I'm not going to attempt them today, given the fact that I've already promised I'm going to attempt to say a name in the next match. It is Celje taking on JB in this one here. 20th place versus 3rd place for JB. It is another side with 3 wins out of 3, but impressive wins as well, including a 3-0 victory over Molde and a 2-1 victory at FC Copenhagen. For NK, they're only on 3 points so far, having lost both of their away fixtures, but they did beat Istanbul 5-1 in their only home fixture so far. So on paper, this is actually a much closer game to call than what some people might suggest. Neither side have any significant injuries going into this. Both sides are on good runs of form domestically. For Jagiellonia, it is 13 matches in a row without defeat. So they are really, really on form. The bizarre thing is that going into this fixture, after I did my initial research, my instinct was to go for a 2-2 draw in this match. Then I saw that in Jagiellonia's last 2 matches, they drew them both 2-2. So I think that's enough for me to suggest that that is what I'm going to stick with. So that is what I'm going for. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. NK2, JB2. But if I was going to have to pick a favourite, again, I'd probably sway it in favour of Jagiellonia. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. And then finally, for this page, but still not finally in terms of the early kickoffs on Thursday, we have Panathinaikos taking on Helsinki, HJK, or to give them their actual name, it is Helsinki Jalkapallo Klubi, which I'm assuming means Helsinki Club, and I have no idea what the middle word means. If anyone would like to let me know, please do let me know. Both of these sides have had poor Europa Conference League so far. Neither of them are even in a playoff spot so far. Panathinaikos are on just 1 point, and they've lost their star striker, Ioannis, again, or Ioannidis, should I say, yet again through injury. He suffered another hamstring injury. He is going to be out for a little while. For Helsinki, they come into this off the back of losing to Olimpija, and the domestic season is also over now as well, so they've not played since that defeat to Olimpija in the match day 3. So there's a lot that both seeds aren't going to be very happy about. The only good news for Panathinaikos coming into this is that they have won both of their domestic matches since losing to Djurgardens on match day 3. So even with the Ioannidis injury, I would still expect them to see off their Finnish opposition here. I'm going for a 2-0 victory to the Greek side in this one. So that concludes the opening 10 fixtures of the Europa Conference League. Take one last long look at them as we now jump over to part 2, where you'll see we've still got 2 fixtures taking place early on Thursday before we then have the 6 games taking place later on. So we'll start off with St. Gallen taking on Backa. 2 sides on 3 points coming into this one, but it is going to be Backa that are going to be feeling the more confident coming into this one, because they were 4-1 victors over Lugano on match day 3, which I really think is actually a really, really good result. Meanwhile, St. Gallen were only able to get a narrow 2-1 victory over Northern Irish side Larne, who is widely considered to be probably the weakest club in this Conference League so far. So for St. Gallen, it's not been great for them, whereas for Backa, they have been pretty decent. It is worth noting that St. Gallen are unbeaten in all of their last 6 matches and haven't lost a single game at home since the match day 1 defeat to Fiorentina. Whereas since that victory over Lugano, the Serbian side have not actually been able to get a single win. So it's not been great for them. They are mid-table in the Serbian division right now and have only been able to get a draw at the weekend. I would still consider St. Gallen to be the slight favourites for this, given the fact that they are the home side and they did get a win last time out. But just bear in mind how well Backa played in that match over Lugano. I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory. Again, these are 2 sides that have been involved in very high-scoring games over the last couple of months. So I think it's going to be another high-scoring one here. Could definitely go either way, but I'm edging it in favour of the home side. The final match of this set is another one that isn't very easy to call either. New Saints have won all of their home matches so far, whereas for Djurgardens, they are only 1 point above them, but they did beat Panathinaikos on match day 3. To be fair, though, they themselves have played against the Europa League side Elfsborg this week in a friendly, and they lost 3-0 to Elfsborg. So Djurgardens not looking too good, albeit it was a friendly. So how much can you read into a friendly? They're obviously trying to keep themselves fit and sharp going in to their respective Conference League and Europa League games, respectively. Djurgardens do have some injuries as well. So there's definitely remit to suggest that the New Saints can come out on top in this one. Both of these sides have not kept a clean sheet since August. So both of these sides are really struggling in terms of keeping out the ball. But I don't actually think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I expect both sides to score. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Djurgardens. I just think, again, on paper, they are the slightly stronger side. But the Welsh side, particularly at home, are definitely capable of producing something. Again, it's going to be 2-1 either way, or a 1-1 draw in my opinion. But I'm just going in favour of Djurgardens. Finally, then, we can move on to the later kickoffs on Thursday. And the first of those is Fiorentina taking on Pafos. Now, remember what we said earlier on in this video. On match day 3, Fiorentina faced Omonia Nicosia Apoel Nicosia, and they lost. So now they're coming up against the second Cypriot club in a row. And the reason why it's significant that Fiorentina lost to Apoel is because this weekend, Pafos played Apoel, and they beat them to continue to extend their lead at the top of the Cypriot League. There is no doubt about it. Pafos are the strongest side in Cyprus, and Fiorentina have just lost to a Cypriot side. The only problem is that's Fiorentina's only defeat in their last 12, and they've won the other 11. And I don't think they've lost at home since March. So they are playing some very, very good stuff at the moment. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure it's something like March. But I just think now, given the fact that they're back at home, even though Pafos are on this incredible run of form themselves, they've won their last 5 in a row, but I just think Fiorentina, surely they have to put right the wrong, which was losing to a Cypriot club last time out. But if any side is going to cause them problems, it is going to be Pafos. Fiorentina do also have injuries as well, but I just can't do it. As much as I'd love to see Pafos get a result here, I just don't see it happening. I'm going for a 3-1 victory to the Serie A side. But genuinely, watch this space. Pafos are more than capable of producing something if they are capable of producing it. Next up, it is Lugano taking on Gent. Both of these sides currently sit in playoff positions. Both of these sides on 6 points. For Lugano, as we've just mentioned, they were on the receiving end of that 4-1 defeat to Backa to Apoel. For Gent, they have won their previous 2 matches in this Europa Conference League, but did lose 6-0 to Anderlecht at the weekend, albeit with 10 men. More on Anderlecht tomorrow. What a pair of results they've had. 5-0 and 6-0 against Europa Conference League sides. But like I say, more on them tomorrow in the Europa League video. But for Lugano, they've also just lost to Young Boys, obviously a Champions League side, Young Boys, back in their native country. But I just think the freak result to Backa to Apoel is that. I think it is a freak result. I think at home, Lugano are a very, very strong side. Neither of these sides have performed well in important matches recently. So as much as I think on paper, Gent should probably be considered the favourites, I think with Lugano being at home, they're going to get some form of a result. I'm going for a 1-1 draw in that one, which then takes us to Mlada Borislav, another side sitting on 0 points, taking on Real Betis, who are on 4 points after losing on match day 1, drawing on match day 2, and then winning on match day 3. They do, though, still have multiple injuries going into this Real Betis and did lose to, at the time, bottom club in La Liga, Valencia, at the weekend. But let's be realistic. Mlada Borislav have not been very good so far in this Europa Conference League. Even with the injury concerns to Real Betis, they are the far, far stronger side on paper going into this. So I'd be very, very shocked if Mlada got their first points of the campaign in this match. I'm going in this one for a 3-1 victory to Real Betis. I'm going to give Mlada a goal. They've been okay at scoring, even though they've been losing, and Betis are very, very regular conceders so far this season. But the Spanish side should still be taking this one pretty comfortably. That then brings us to Olimpija Ljubljana taking on Larne. It is the final side on 0 points in this competition so far. That is, of course, Larne. They're going to be travelling to Slovenia, who are in 10th place. To be honest, there's not too much to say about this one. Like we've just mentioned, Larne are on 0, Olimpija are at home, they're playing well. Olimpija, if you want any more going into it, they're unbeaten in their last 7, and they've won 6 of those, including winning away against HJK and LASK in their previous 2 match days. Neither side have any real injury concerns coming into this, so you've just got to go with what you'd expect to see on paper, which for me is a win to Olimpija. I'm going for a 3-0 victory to them. Hopefully, that is probably the easiest game to predict of all 18 this week. That then takes us back to Cyprus one last time for Omonia Nicosia taking on Legia Warsaw. For Omonia, they sit in 21st. For Legia, they are 2nd in the Europa League, so for the Europa Conference League so far. Maximum points from them. Defeats on match days 2 and 3 leaves Omonia on 3 points, but they did bounce back with 2 wins domestically. For Legia, though, they have their former Manchester United academy player Onyedeli injured for this one, who has been so good for them that he's managed to get an international call-up for Poland as well. So fair play to Onyedeli for that. Nice to see a Manchester United academy player doing well, even if it is back in Poland. But realistically, again, you've got to look at the form of these two sides. You've also got to look at the fact that these two sides actually met a couple of seasons ago in another competition, and it was Legia who came out 2-0 victors in Cyprus on that occasion as well. For me, this is Warsaw's game to lose. I'm going for a 4-2 victory to Legia. Again, two sides that have been involved in huge score lines, respectively, over the course of the last few weeks. And then finally, it is Rapid Vienna, another side and the final side that have maximum points so far in this Conference League, taking on the only side in the table that have 7 points. So both sides are actually unbeaten in this one. Shamrock Rovers are the only side on 7. Rapid have been fantastic in their matches so far, but have stalled slightly in their performances domestically at the moment, including drawing to Champions League side Sturm. But even though Shamrock have won all of their last 6 matches in all competitions, this is their toughest test so far in the Europa Conference League. And it's an away game to the strongest opposition they've come up against. And they've not played a single match since match day 3, since their domestic season has finished as well. Can they produce something? I'm sure they could. But with Rapid being the side at home in Vienna, I have to go for the Austrian side here. I'm going to end today's video with a 2-1 victory to Rapid Vienna. And that is going to be it. As always, let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know how I got on at pronouncing all of the names today. It's going to be a fascinating couple of nights in the Europa Conference League, as always. Hopefully, we can still end with a positive record for the week. Thank you very much for watching, as always. Thank you very much for 6,000 subscribers. Once again, I'll be back at this time tomorrow morning for the 18 Europa League fixtures, so I'll see you there.